So welcome everyone. Welcome to MENTEE's third Global Sustainable Development Goals panel discussion. My name is Irene Lucini Serrano de Aro, and I am hosting this event today on behalf of MENTEE and in partnership with SEMA Student Film Club. So thank you all for being here and welcome. I'm sure it's going to be a fantastic discussion. I'm very excited to welcome you all as we explore how the arts, and in particular film and film production, can help us in our achievement of the SDGs and ultimately to improve the world that we all live in and share together. So I'm very happy. Additionally, Leila Gandhi is joining us as our special guest moderator. Leila is an incredible award-winning TV host, reporter, photographer, documentary film director, published author, content producer, and many more things, with millions of viewers on TV, 2M Maroc, France 2, and an audience of nearly 1 million people on her digital platforms. So Leila, it's a pleasure to have you with us today. You advocate for women empowerment, for the protection of the environment, and the promotion of dialogue between cultures. We're very lucky to have you as a moderator today to lead this discussion on art for impact, using film for social change. So welcome, Leila, welcome everyone, and over to you.
Thank you so much, Irene, for this presentation. I feel so grateful and privileged to have been invited here by MENTEE to moderate this panel. Thanks for your introduction. Indeed, it's a very interesting topic, and I guess you all have watched the film we are going to discuss, and one of the sentences was in one of the movie, when conventional activism fails, art might be very powerful and useful. And I think this is what we're gonna talk about today: the power of art, the power of film, the power of images, the power of emotion to transform society, to transform mentalities, mindsets, to make it be a better place and have a positive impact on the world. So this is what we are going to talk about today. And we have with us an amazing panel. You better fasten your seatbelt, because thanks to you, we are about to travel all across the globe, from the United States to Lebanon, to Tanzania, to Vietnam, to Ghana, to Nigeria, to Monaco, where I am right now, to many different places. Italy also is in the place. So I would like first to give a big round of applause to all of you. And I want to see your hands clapping. Yes, because you all made it to that moment today where we're going to talk about this topic, and you are all committed, you are all activists, everyone in its very own way, in its very own scale. So you are all contributing already to a better world. So with us today, we have an amazing panel of MENTEE Global Mentors and Mentees. We have with us Marlana Abu Elias, Chris Fowler, Ogosa Ehraron, sorry if I pronounce it not correctly, Maria Fernanda Camacho, Nansmilin Hutunt, Duccio Manetti from Italy, Salim Mbampa, Vida Opaku. It's already a gathering of very different people, nationality, countries, and mindset different. So we're going to talk about this topic, and we are going to talk about these two films, the SEMA studio film. One is named Art for Peace, and the other one is named Familia Ayara. We will talk about it, and I will ask each one of you to give his insight on the films, his insight on what he felt about the films, and what he thinks could be the way that art and film can actually have a positive impact on societies. And I will give the floor to you straight, because what we want is your insight. So we are going to start with Chris and Vida. So Chris is a member of the BMW Foundation, responsible leader, and he's also committed. He's a board member of several mission-driven organizations, and Vida is a student and public speaker and she's Nazali from Ghana. I would like, you have 7 minutes, both of you, to give your insight on this film. And if you can tell us, according to you, how art can be used to create a social change in different ways, and what did you each find most moving about this movie? Chris, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Leila, and it's indeed an honor and a pleasure to join you and so many others today. And I would be remiss if I took the opportunity to speak first, as you know, my engagement with Mentee is in support of and to honor Vita's contribution. So, if I may, I will yield the floor to her, as you know, I appreciate her contributions on this so much. Vita.
Thank you, Chris, and thanks everybody who is here today for this such an amazing opportunity. So honestly, when I watched the movie, there was so much that I was able to learn. I took a lot from it, like the piece of art. I'm going to talk about that first because it's the other one is also in Spanish. So so when I watched the film, I saw that the film or the artwork was another way for the people to send message to the public, to the government, to the people who don't know what is going on in the society. Because if you look at artwork or music, it's not just music. Usually they have some kind of message to tell the people, like, this is going on, has been going on, so this is time for change. So and that was exactly what they were doing. If you're looking at so many pictures, so many paintings, even the Black movement, Black Lives Matter, it's kind of like you see this painting everywhere. You see the message that they're trying to send across, like they are tired of this. The government have to see this. It's another way to tell the government, like, the people know what is going on. So there is time for them to change. They need a change in the society. So me seeing this, and I'm going to quote one of the guys, he said, music is, if I remember correctly, he said, music is the way I can send message to the people. Through music, I have power to speak to my people. Because if you look at the video, looking at the Southern Sudan, if you look at their situation, it's like they don't even have access to social media. And to me, I think it's very bad. It's very terrible. So, but if you come to like places like America, people use social media to communicate. People use social media to tell what is going on. People can go live anytime they want and say, hey, this place, this is what is going on. But if they don't have access to that, I think the only way that they can contribute, or they can tell the people who doesn't know or even don't care, they think everything is normal, they should tell them this is not normal, this has to change. And the other way to do that is to educate them through artwork or music. So Chris, I don't know if you want to add something to this point, and I can jump back in again. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Vita, thank you so much. I think that what you've just shared really underlines the point that Leila made at the top, right? That conventional activism has not been, it's failing, and it's failing many communities. And, bringing art and creative expression into these ways helps reach people where they are. It may be the case that one of the reasons why conventional activism is not working is because they're speaking or using the wrong channels, or they may be sharing perhaps the wrong message. And I think that it's through creative expression. One of the artists, one of the activists shared that there's an emotional truth to the message that I'm sharing, but there's also a rational truth, right? So there's the rational truth gets the people to nod their head and say, yeah, that's a problem. I need, I get it now. But it's that emotional truth that can come through so much more effectively through creative expression that gets people to care and want to take action on it. And I think that, be it film, be it music, and as we saw in the film Familia Ayala, something like hip hop can be dance, it can be emceeing, rhyming, it could be art, so there are so many forms, and I think that getting out and speaking to people in language that they can understand, and it could be a visual language or a spoken language or the language of music, I think gives a much broader aperture to this work of activism, and making sure that creative expression has those emotional and rational truths at their heart.
Okay, so I have an example.
Most moving. What did you find the most moving about these movies? Did he has an impact on yourself?
Yes, I think I was kind of like connected to it at some point, because I grew up in a community just like the one happening in Saudi Arabia, and I was so emotional. I was so touched. Like when I saw that all these kids, like I remember one of the kids has to join an army at a very young age. There are some wars they have to do something that they are not willing to do. So I found it very, like, it moves me when I saw that he realized that what he was doing wasn't safe, because this is when nobody will tell you, hey, you can't fight against each other. This is your people. You have to be united. You have to fight for your right. So people don't even know they are right. People don't know they can stand for themselves. So when I saw that that kid was going back to school, he became aware of what the country is doing, what the community is doing. I was very amazed. I was so amused. Like me growing up in Ghana, I had to go to school at some places under a tree, so many bad conditions. And people think for the government to build them like a school building or provide furniture or books is some kind of like an offer. They don't see it as it's the government responsibility. So if they get something little, they think it's kind of like thank you to the government, instead of like this is what they have to do, and they are not doing it. So I was very impressed when I saw all these young people became aware of what they have been through. They have been cheated, and this is the time they have to get back from what they have been taken from them. So
so that's actually a question I would like all the global mentors and mentees to have in mind is, okay, we get it. This kind of messages, the art, the film can actually reach out, and it's a new channel to reach out an audience. That's true. It's emotional, that's true. But my concern is, how can we make it go from the emotion, like being touched, to actually get the audience engaged and act accordingly?
Yeah, if I may, and to answer that question while also addressing, your earlier one, the thing that resonated with me the most was that, one of the young ladies in Familia Ayara said, school teaches us facts. It does not teach us values. And it is through this creative expression and through the familia that she found within that community, that she was able to learn more about the values that really informed how she showed up and what she took interest in. And in fact, I believe it was the same young lady that shared that she had an estranged relationship with her own family, and found community and meaning in this community of activists. So I think that it goes, it does help address, and that was what resonated with me the most, the sense that, you can learn values through and find community by engaging with others. And that's where it speaks to that engagement piece, Leila, that you mentioned just now.
But in that case, is it the community, the association, the cultural center that made the difference? Or is it just the music or just the film? My question is, do we need many cultural centers and association and community to go knock on doors and take people and try to teach them value, try to change their core? If yes, then it's much more complicated than to do a film, broadcast it, and wait for the results. Are we talking about community impact or movie music art impact?
I mean, my point of view on that is that, you will always find community-based solutions, right? So in one case, it may be that you have these community centers, because that's what that context, provides for, and you know, it's the how that community has shown up in that way. In other communities, it may show up entirely different, based on you know, the sort of lived experience of those in that place and time. So I want to sort of caution against the idea that there's like a solution. It's a series of solutions that will be contextual for the people, place, and time that they're in.
I think it's going to be both, if you ask me, because we need the community to support whatever message that we have for them. Like, for instance, the piece, the art of peace. I remember one of the guys saying before he wanted to be an actor, but then he was so scared to tell his family because it was something that wasn't accepted. It wasn't respected in the community. So if you can educate the community and also tell the youth that, hey, this is it, and this is how you have to go about it. There has to be like a right way to do that. So I think we need both the community and then the youth too.
Yeah, I guess now, and we can take it to the next global mentors and mentee, but you have raised the issue of economical reason too, because I think the family was worried about the son being an actor, not really because being an actor is bad, but really because being an actor doesn't pay the rent. And that's another set of questions. But I would like to give the floor. Everybody can actually you know, interact. I mean, now I will pass the floor on to next mentors and mentee, but Chris and Vida, you can interact whenever you want. This is supposed to be a dynamic conversation, right? So everybody can just, hey, I want to add something, that's fine. Yes, Chris already started with the thumbs up. So I would like to give the floor to Maria and Selim. So Maria is a journalist and the founder of Well Educated America. And Salim is a social activist and the executive director of training and empowerment of association whose aim is to train and empower the youth. So Maria, if you want to take the floor first, I will ask you the same question about what did you think of this movie? What did touch you the most? What are your insights on it? And how do you think art can actually achieve this goal of having a positive impact?
Thank you. Can you guys hear me very well?
Yes, but we cannot see you.
I know. It's raining where I am right now, and the internet is very, very bad, so I don't want to lose connection.
Okay.
First of all, I'll say I'll congratulate you for the movies, for the film. Both of them have such a great impact in me. Seeing me, I cannot imagine the impact that it had on the people that it showed on the films. I'm from South America originally, so the Familia Araya movie, which is in Colombia, led me thinking about how powerful art can impact these peoples in neighborhoods, you know, especially in South America, where we have a lot of poverty, a lot of lack of education. What caught me the most is how the hip hop and as well the theater could impact those lives of those kids. Where there is poverty, there is people trying to find something to do, and that led kids to doing bad things, right? So having this type of art around, being teach on them, give them hope. That's my word. What I feel, and give them hope. It brings the best out of them. It keeps them more than entertained, educated, because they see interest. They want to get educated on any art and try not to live in that vagrancy, you know, and with bad habits and all that. So have art around, keep them distracted from doing bad things, educate them, help them with social responsibility, understand the law, culture exchange. There are so many things that bring out of them, honestly.
That's interesting. Actually, we get back to the idea of the community. It's like we can tell now from this third word that we have, we can tell that maybe like a hip hop song alone is not enough. Maybe a film, a short film alone might not be enough, or at least not as efficient as when it's supported by a community. So because there
For
again,
sure.
we have this amazing character. I don't remember the name of this man who was organizing this improvisation, who was organizing everything. What would it be without him? Would it still have the same impact? Would it still give this hope, do you think?
Correct. Correct. I mean, it will definitely have a different impact and a bigger impact if they feel supported. It's more people who have been through support them and kind of encourage them to go through the art process. But I wanted to add about the Familia Araya, besides being so special because it's close to my homeland, right? It's kind of as an example because music have changed the life worldwide of people, but Colombia, especially lately, we have so many Colombian artists, and most of them come from poor neighborhood. And what I see that they're doing now is encourage others peoples in their neighborhood back in Colombia. Most of them live in the United States, in Europe, but they encourage those people from the neighborhood where they come from as well, back in Colombia to get in the track, either the music or theater, any type of art, to be honest, painting. But yeah, we have so many great examples, and that's what kind of like relieve me with hope as well, because as there are bad things happening, there are so many good things happening as this one. When you see artists like Shakira or J Balvin or Karol G, who are big worldwide, and they're helping those. They're teaching people, literally, as you say in the film, that through art we can, make positive actions, change life, literally. I got out of words after, and I love words, I love writing, but after seeing both the films, I was like, wow, there is nothing else I could add to this because it speaks for itself, to be honest.
Thank you, Salim. Can you share your insight with us?
I don't think he's in the meeting. He was, but I don't know what happened. Maybe he got disconnected.
Okay, that's fine. We can move to, we can give the floor to Ducio Magnetti. So he's a global external communication director at Tetra Pak. And he's a guest lecturer at Quadriga University. And most importantly, he's, according to his Twitter, a genuine humanist. So please, Duccio, can you give us your insight on this movie and how it moves you, and what do you think could actually have an impact, concrete impact?
Thank you, Leila, and I'm honored that not only of being here, but also that you have read my Twitter profile, which I think nobody has been reading for a while. But thanks for that. I think that word is crucial. Being a humanist today in this contemporary era, in this contemporary world, is very tough. And I am one believing in the power of kindness, and I think kindness is revolutionary. That's why I am really enjoying being here in this panel, and I am honored to be a mentor for Mentee. But before I go ahead and I share my views, I would like to have actually Smile share her story because it's really touching, and I would like to start from here.
Sure.
Okay, hello. Firstly, I would like to thank the Mentee programs in my classroom program and also my mentor and everyone here for allowing me to share here. And the particular moment that resonated in my life from this movie is like both movie really resonated with the situation in my country, Myanmar, a country without peace and justice. My minority ethnicity have been fighting for freedom for more than like 70 years, just like young people from the video like South Sudan and Colombia. Citizens from other developed countries will be like, my country will protect me wherever I go. But it is not the same case for people from these two videos and my country. And we are like hiding and being scared in our own country. And now in Myanmar, they are like beating, arresting, sexual harassment, gunshot, house burning, and air bombing every single day. And the interesting thing that the video show is that people fight for their freedom, peace, poverty in a very creative way, which I don't see much in my country. And another part that resonated my life is where a lady from Anathaban in the Art of Peace video, and she said that she was born in a refugee camp and she is from a young generation and have too much pressure on their shoulder for the country. And it's also resonated my life. As for my situation, I know that like our previous generation, they did and they fight for democracy for us, but they failed. But now, like, I also want the best for my future generation. So it's the same feeling for many people in my country, especially youth. So from 1st February 2021 until now, there were like more than 700 people, especially youth, die and 1,000 are in prison while fighting for their freedom. So they sacrifice their life for democracy and for the country. If possible, we want to be the last generation to get rid of the civil war and like inhuman like government and also poverty. So this video really inspired me to be like creative, powerful, and provide me some way to help back to my country. And also it's encouraged me like we are not alone. There are people like we are in the same boat fighting for the freedom and against the injustice. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Smile. Indeed, you have a very, very nice first name, I must say. Smile. Already that gives you hope and a smile. So Smile is a student, she's a speaker also, and she also has experience as a Myanmar refugee, so she speaks from a known place. So thank you for sharing this with us. Ducio, if you can.
Absolutely. And I feel so lucky for being a mentor for Smile. Thank you. Wow. I mean, to be honest, I'm always emotionally touched when I hear the story of the refugees in Myanmar. It always touches me so much. And this is why I joined this initiative and I embrace the cause of MENTEE. The movies and these stories remind me of what a famous Italian priest was used to say. His name is Don Milani. And in the 60s, he fought a lot against the Italian conservative educational system in order to give good education programs accessible to everybody, especially to marginalized people. And I really want to quote, if you allow me, what he was used to say. He was used to say, "I have learned that other people's problems are the same as mine. Sorting them all together is political. Sorting them out on your own is greed. If you had the right to divide the world to citizens and foreigners, then I will tell you that following your thinking, I have no homeland. And I claim the right to divide the world into marginalized and oppressed ones from one end, privileged and oppressors on the other. First group are my homeland, the others my foreigners. If you lose them, the most difficult kids, school is no longer a school. It's an hospital that treats the healthy and rejects sick people." So I share these words because they always enlighten me, to be honest. And they made me think and they made me ask myself, what did I learn from life? I can say in total honesty in front of these stories that I am a privileged one, even if I also come from a poor family, a normal family. And to become who I am today, I had to study a lot and make debits for my studies. And that for me was the real social elevator, the real accelerator. So in my view, art, education, social activities, they're really the way back from poverty and from a marginalized life. So to activate these words, I decided to give back every time I can, and to use the power of words, the power of language, the power of communication to help people with disadvantages to earn what they deserve. And it's funny because these movies really resonated for me. Like some time ago, I spent 2 years on a project for sports and art for the local community for marginalized and poor kids in Italy. And it was actually precisely a combination of basketball and hip hop. So it reminded me a lot of Familia Ayara. And I saw these kids growing with me, learning, changing paths in their lives. And it was astonishing. And I can really say that this was my real privilege. This reminded me a lot of these movies. And this is what these great documentaries show me, the power of art and education in saving and changing lives. And to quote what Chris said, for me, there isn't even a thing like conventional activism. There is instead what we all do in life and how we are in provoking changes. Can you hear me?
We also need conventional activism. Yes, we hear you perfectly.
Okay, sorry.
We also need conventional activism, but we also need alternative way of reaching out and engaging the people. And as a filmmaker trying to have an impact, I'm obsessed with this question: how can I make sure that it has an impact? How can I assess this impact? How can I make sure that it actually contributes to change? Because sometimes you can be involved in art and do beautiful things for peace, but it's cosmetic. And it doesn't have the impact that you are willing to have. I have just this example in mind. I have produced a documentary film in Palestine and Israel, and I had this beautiful idea of interviewing people, doing concerts of mixed nationality, Palestinian and Israeli singer, musicians, and they were talking about peace because their creation in itself was a proof that peace was possible. So I had this idea to showcase this. And at the end, I realized that, okay, this concert exists, this orchestra exists, but it's just an orchestra. And it didn't change anything about the conflict, and it didn't change anything about people's mindset in both sides. So I was like, this is a beautiful idea, but how can we make sure that it has an impact? And when it's a movie or when it's a very local initiative, how can we make sure we actually can scale it up so it can have a global impact? Everybody can interact, but I would like to give the floor to Ogosa and Mariana. Ogosa is a Nigerian lawyer, and he's engaged in tech policy for Africa. And Mariana is the program director of the Beirut Love Film Festival, and she is herself a filmmaker and a trainer. So I think you can give us a very good insight on this film and on the question that has been raised by everybody before you. Ogosa, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Leila. Thank you, everyone, for your contributions. As always, I will get Mariana to, talk a bit about her film festival and, her insights on the mentees. Mariana?
Okay, so I'm gonna talk about the films that we are discussing. What is remarkable is that both films, they share the concept of spreading peace through art. So art is a tool that brings what's inside to the outside world, a visualized journey through which we heal. The protagonists chose not to victimize themselves. Instead, they took proactive approach to express their emotions in civilized ways of expression. On another note, both films, they share the virtue of oneness, one family, despite all the differences and barriers imposed by the society, a family that they consciously chose, built on connections and not forced attachments, connection that allow them to grow one with all, to feel each other's agony and joy. Hence, the ones that have the willpower to start the interchange, we're offering guidance by transmitting unbiased knowledge to receptive communities, giving them the opportunity to share their very own experiences. The suffering might seem mutual. However, it is important to acknowledge the uniqueness of each one's perspective, opinion, and feeling, meaning that suffering is an optional emotion that can be flushed out in a peaceful, respectful, and more impactful manner. I'd like to add a point we were discussing earlier, that the idea, how can we manifest the idea into action? So I'd like to add a small note on that. is that our thoughts shape our emotions, and our emotions create our feelings, and our feelings lead our actions, and our actions determine the quality of our lives. So that's all for me.
Thank you, Mariana. Indeed, emotions can actually be the driving force, leading your way. And when it becomes complex, is that we are all part of society that is complex with different interests and different views and different. So how the question is how can we raise up this emotion and make it be louder or make it be more impactful and more important than the other forces that drive the world today. Unfortunately, it's not always about emotions and feelings, but most of the time about politics, strategy, geopolitics, economy, and it becomes a bit harder to make your emotion. This is why we often say that we should have more women leading the world, maybe emotionally.
Right. Right. I'd just like to say how nice and poetic Mariana was with her speech, and how lucky obviously I've been just learning from her and envisioning how she's perceived both movies. So just leading on what she said about the oneness and the idea of you not actually selecting your new family, we're actually going to where you feel more accepted and more at peace and more impactful. And I think that's what we saw from both movies. You had a situation where people were displaced or didn't really like where they're coming from, but they were able to meet a community and being a part of that. And I think that does transcend to education and how so there was a little boy in the movie that spoke about how he was uneducated and he was then exposed to obviously crime or insecurity and stuff. I'm thinking more of the plan of not only presenting art, but also finding ways to engage people in art and conventional activism, as Chris had mentioned. And I think that's the entire idea of oneness. I think myself and I have spoken a lot about. It's finding yourself being comfortable in a different environment than where you're originally from. And so Leila, you mentioned how we can go about creating that kind of impact. So I think a while ago, there was a program that I worked on when I was in the UK, and it was actually like a little festival where different communities went around different counties performing, getting people to exhibit their talents, you showing what you're good at and everything like that. A lot of people in marginalized societies really don't know what their talents are, right? And I think creating a community as often and as common as possible to give people the opportunity to really test out if they like breakdancing, if they like beatboxing, if they like singing, or whatever form of expression that works for you. And I think that's more of what we need to encourage. So on my part in Nigeria, I was really inspired to really try looking out for more arts organizations or social impact organizations that are willing to reach out to more people, more uneducated people, more people in marginalized communities, and really just trying to inspire them through a general theme like art or music or culture. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And before we are going to give the floor to everybody, I would like now to, she was supposed to be with us, the Shansan Chan, but unfortunately she couldn't make it. But I have received a message to let me know that she managed to record a video for us. Iran, maybe we can give the floor to Shan Chen, who is a filmmaker video of impact. Iran?
Yes, I beg you to bear with me just for 1 minute. I'm having a few digital issues, even though I am a millennial.
Shen is actually the director of the first movie, Art for Peace. So she's a powerful filmmaker, social change agent, and she's a London-based producer and a journalist. And so she has addressed many different issues, topics with her films. So she's really, she can safely speak about the role and the power of film, art, and media for creating a positive impact on society. And we will see her video, and then we can go through another round of words from everybody.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen and share the video now. She apologizes tremendously for not being able to join us. There was just a misunderstanding with all the time conversions, and unfortunately, she wasn't able to join, but here we are. Please let me know, can you hear it?
Yes. I studied documentary filmmaking in the UK, and before that, I studied television journalism back in China and lived in UK for about 11 years. I've been making short documentaries. At the beginning, it's really because a course in the university that it's about contemporary Chinese documentary, which is only starting about the 1990s. And the document, I remember there's a film I saw, documentary film I saw, it's about a group of people living, young people living in Beijing. And I was so drawn to the story and I start to think, oh, that's something I really want to make. It's about people's story. Because where I'm from, I guess the documentary movement started very late, only in the 90s. So there are a lot of opportunities to fill this gap. So I did contemplate whether I want to go to fictional or non-fictional filmmaking. At that time, I think, I thought because what I studied, television, news and television is more related probably to documentary filmmaking, but I find out that's not really the case because it's really about, it's not just about characters, your characters' voices, it's also about filmmaker's voice, how you structure your film, how you write your narrative, how you recreate or reconstruct your story. So it's really a creative process. I really enjoy it. So I've been enjoying writing a lot. So I guess it's a really good media to kind of combine my interest, my passion, as well as what I've learned at university and what I've learned at my work. So the second question is about my films. I've been making short documentaries since I was in the university. That's a while ago. So most of my films are about, what would I say, the most pressing issues in the world. And most of the places I make my films are developing countries. I think what draws me the most is really the people I met for my films. I guess targeting social issues is one part of it, but I guess the most important is, as a filmmaker, you care about people you filmed, you care about people you met, and then you naturally will care about the situation they're in. So that includes, for example, LGBT rights. A couple of years ago, I co-direct a film called The Stonewall 50, and I follow a couple in Taiwan, and that was a quite interesting time because same-sex marriage was about to be legalized. That was the first in Asia, and then I couldn't stay for their marriage, but we kind of anticipate they probably will get get married if it was legalized, as same-sex marriage was legalized. But as I was there, it's more about story of their struggle or their life as a same-sex couples and how their child live in a still quite conservative society. So, and also I made a short film called Art
for Peace, that was in South Sudan, that's back in 2018. I met a group of young people use their own ways, filmmaking or poetry or different creative ways to address their social struggles, as young people living and grew up as refugees out of South Sudan or going back to South Sudan to establish their country. So that's really a story. I feel really connected to the people there because my background, where I'm from, people have the very similar parallel experience many years ago, many decades ago, but you can see the history repeat themselves. So for me, people understand them probably is more important than the actual social issues. So I guess, so the last question is about advice to young filmmakers. First time to make a film and trying to make a positive change. I guess as a filmmaker, you always have the best intention in heart and think, okay, that will be the best work I will ever make. The next one, I would say maybe not the next one, but the current one you're making, just to give it 100, I don't know, 250, 300%. And I really enjoy the process because that really shows in your work. You enjoy the process, enjoy the people you meet, your teammates, other directors or producers or people help you to make it happen, people who give you time to be interviewed and filmed and followed. I think if you have the best intention, if you give it the most, then it's just naturally showing the film. I think we all want to make a positive change, right? It's a very sometimes once you finish the work, once you finish making the film, it's almost like a baby being born. It has its own life. You can only try your best when you are creating it, but once the life is created, you have just let it be out in the world, I guess. And I think these days social media or young people are very smart using social media or using different channels to get the film out. So I think that probably won't be the issue to get people to see your work. I guess my advice is just to really make it with or the best you can. I think another thing is about looking for stories. I think it's probably linked to the last question about the kind of social issues to target. I know people probably will look at stats or looking at what is most popular, but it's like you can always try to follow the trend, try to follow what is the most popular topic. But I guess ask yourself what you care the most, why these films in any way related to yourself. Because I believe all the personal story have something in common. You can, even like when I was making that film about young people in South Sudan, they are so young, they are probably 10 years younger than I was at the time. But you can see the history of us can be very similar. And you can see the passion that because I do follow a group of filmmakers, you can see, oh, that's something we love in common. We do have lots of things in common. So do try to figure out, spend time to think yourself on your own, to really reflect on what you love, what you are interested, because that also shows in what you create. I guess that's my advice for the first time filmmakers.
Thank you, Irene, for sharing your insight with us. We are glad we actually finally got your message. And we have 8 minutes before our host, Irene, has to rush to an emergency meeting. So that will just take us right on time at 6:30. But before she wraps up, I would like to give the floor. You have like 1 minute each to share your comments and notes about what you've heard so far. Whoever wants to start first, you have 1 minute each. So maybe we can give the floor to Salim because he didn't get.
Yes. I have just unmuted myself and I was to speak. Thank you very much, and my apologies for some minutes. I was away. My connection just went off and I was trying to come back. Thank you to technology that I'm back again. Okay. I was with Maria in our question, and I don't want to go back because Maria has already answered and has clarified more. But what I want to add a bit in this 1 minute is that we young people, I'm referring to myself because I'm also a young person leading an organization in Tanzania. And according to those 2 movies, if you go in detail, you'll find that most of the participants are young people, and the audience, those people who are actually being targeted by the films, are young people. And because young people are the ones who make more in terms of percentage across the globe, it is the fact that we young people have the power to create change. And once we are fed with proper information, and if we are given an opportunity to speak, if we have the power to participate, then we can create something even more formidable for the sustainability of our world. So that is my few contribution to this event. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Salim. Does anyone want to add something before Irene wraps up?
Yeah, I can add to what he just said. So I think he made a really good point about talking about the youth, because if you look at today, we are the future tomorrow. So I think if there are any changes, we have to stand up and talk loud. We have to make sure in one way or the other, make sure somebody's hearing what we are sending or somebody is aware about what is going on. So because if you are bad youth, then you're going to grow up to become bad leaders. So you are the future leaders. And that's one thing I want everybody here to remember, that whatever you are doing, think about yourself, think about your kids, think about the people who are behind you, and think that you can make a little change in your community. So that's what I want to say.
Yeah, that's true. Youth is very important, and youth is fresh, youth has hope, youth is looking forward, want to change things, still have a lot of energy. I think one of the challenges is to try to embark with us. Let's say we are all young here, okay? So how can we embark with us? Everyone, and not only the youth. And we have here a very good example, I think, is Greta with the climate change activism. She embarked everybody in her journey. So how can we duplicate as much as possible this kind of movement, so that it doesn't remain in the bubble of the youth, but it spreads? We should take with us the company, the BMW, the Tetra Pak, all these industries, all these companies, all these firms, so that we can scale up these voices that are being heard in bubbles, and so that the bubbles can actually spread and explode and share a lot of hope globally. So I think that's one of the main challenges of. Does anyone want to? We still have 4 minutes before 3 minutes before Irene wrap up. So if anyone wants to add something, and then Irene, the floor is yours.
I would like to, Leila, if I may, there is one point I would like to highlight, which is connected to what I said at the beginning, and that's why I'm honored to be here. This is a world, especially in the social media space, dominated by the hate speech. I think art, beauty, can help in beating that culture. I think there is a need, a strong need for sharing the good that we see in the world. Otherwise, there will always be news for something bad. So I think we need to speak up for the good that there is out there, because otherwise it's always a conversation dominated by bad things. So even when we complain, when we fight for something, I think culture, art, movies, music, all these in one package, I believe in a multidimensional way, not in a conventional way, but in a multidimensional way, can help us in beating that culture.
Definitely.
Yeah, thank you so much for this note, indeed, because I just want to add on that, and then I give the floor to Augusta. This is what they said in the Arch for Peace movie. They said, we as South Sudanese people, we are branded as being violent. As
violent people, yeah.
So yeah, so we need to change this misconception and this branding, and obviously arts is one of the ways, indeed. Augusta?
Yeah, no, I was just saying of I think Camelo in the Camelo movie said, be the change you want to see. And Mandela has said, be the mirror you want to see. And I think that's a really good rapid in it all,
Actually, before the protagonist of the movie, Gandhi said, be the change you want to see.
So that's what I'm saying. Gandhi did say that as well. So it's all just wrapping in what we need to see more about. If you want to see more artwork, if you want to see more change, you need to, be getting out and inspiring more people.
Yeah, I think be the change you want to see in the world can actually be a perfect wrap up for this session, because this is about being the change we want to see in the world, but this is also about having the courage of being the change we want to see in the world, because today it's very easy to criticize, it's very easy to say this is not good, this is not bad, I don't want this like that, but then when we try to engage people, okay, what do you want to do, what can you do? What are you doing? Then the answer is nothing. I don't know. Not really. No, I'm not. No, I want to stay home on my Sunday. I don't want to protest. I don't want to make any effort. So I think this is also a problem we have to deal with today. And maybe one of the biggest challenge here is after the intentions, how can we convert it into real action? So we need to engage, and we need to develop our citizenship feeling. We need to be able to go out and do stuff. Just to take the example of climate change again. Okay, it's easy not to go to school on Friday, but then what do you do again to fight climate change? What do you do? Are you protecting the environment? No, because I don't want to change my habit. I don't want to change my food habit. I don't want to. So I think this is also something we really need to address, and maybe this here is an idea for films, is we have to be the change we want to see. The word is not only a sentence, we have to embody it, we have to be it, but that requires a little bit of effort. And
action.
Action, yeah. Are we willing to take this action, or do we just want to talk?
Otherwise, it's too easy. It's the era of everybody complaining from the sofa and posting something on Facebook. That's not how we change things.
And a good hashtag.
Exactly.
And I mean, if I may, I think that what everyone is addressing here is also why, like Duccio, I find myself so grateful for the organization MENTEE, for helping bring together and building a community of aligned actors that want to be part of the solution, and to lift up something that was shared earlier, to finding the good when we are surrounded by so much darkness. and sharing that good and making sure that you feel that you aren't alone. So that message is certainly shared out, that no one listening to this is alone. There is goodness out there. Connect to organizations like MENTEE, find others that you can align your actions with to be the change that we all want to see in this world.
Thank you so much, Chris. Thank you so much, everybody. I propose we can keep on with this conversation online through MENTEE or Twitter or whatever. We can very easily find each other so that we can keep the spirit and have an impact in our own scale, in our surrounding. Today, you can have an impact in your own house or in your own class or in your own building. So let's do it. Let's make it happen. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, MENTEE, for organizing this. And I'm very glad I was the moderator today. See you soon. Stay safe and be the change you want to see in the world.
Thank you too. Bye. You did a great
Thanks,
job
everybody.
today.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.